Welcome once again to the Sentai Riders United podcast. I am your lovable host, the Toyman. But tonight we have a wonderful show for you. But before we get to that, I have some introductions. First and foremost, we have frogs.
Ribbit.
Oh, well, I think Mr. Ribbit is on temporary hiatus at the moment, but he'll be here shortly. Next in line, we have Eric.
Hi, everybody. I still don't have a nickname. I'm
Once
sad.
again to the Sentai Riders United podcast.
You did it
There we
again.
I didn't break it too bad this time. I got it. Yay! Next in line, we have our wonderful toy reviewer, KRX50.
Ready to go.
Next, we have our special guest, Tony Izzo. He's back again. He wanted to join us.
Hi.
I
Hi.
give you a I give you a wonderful introduction. All you say is, "Hey." What? Oh well. Okay. I'll know that for next time. Anyway, last but most certainly not least, we have Volt.
Hi, everybody. Welcome
Hi,
to the
Dr. Nick.
party.
Who?
You said hi, everybody. I was saying hi, Dr. Nick, like from The Simpsons.
Okay.
Hi, everybody.
Oh, God. All right. Well, before we get to our topic, we're going to start with our articles. And due to there being a vast number of them, we're just going to take them in the order that we had them originally. So, who is setting up the share screen?
I'm working on it. Goodness gracious.
Oh, boy.
Okay, let's go with... Actually, I know what I'll do. I'll just set it up as an individual thing. Or it won't let me. There we go. Alright, there you go. I'm gonna just be working on dragging all of these in one by one as we go, so...
Alrighty. And you are listening to everybody. Alrighty. Alright, so first and foremost, if you are a fan of Kamen Rider Decade, you will be very happy to know that his actor is joining the cast of Garo. I'm very intrigued about this.
I'm very happy.
You're what?
I'm particularly about this because Masahiro Inoue. I'm very happy about this in particular because it seems like for such a long time now, this guy has been just stuck with Decade. You know, like when you see certain actors like Geki Violet moved on to be, you know, one of the space sheriffs. Other characters like Sailor Mars, she became a big idol. Seeing someone that I love that played Decade just get stuck is just like I want him to see him do more, and see him do this just makes me happy.
I'm with you on that one. It does seem like, just based on what little bit of Toku I have seen, because even though I've seen a lot, it still pales in comparison to some people. It does seem like certain actors and actresses get in a rut where they are just stuck in whatever role they had.
It's typecasting.
Yes, there you go. That's the word. And they just get stuck with a particular character that they've portrayed. So when they finally get to move on, it's like, thank God, yay!
As far as I go, I'm glad for the guy. I'm glad for Masahiro Inoue, but I just don't care about Garo. It's just, I guess I don't care because it's not Toyek. It's not like the typical Henshin Hero stuff. I've just never brought myself to watch it, and this is not going to change that.
I love the Garo series. I haven't seen them all because I can't find them to download them all. But then again, I'm not patient enough to really sit down and really thoroughly search. But I have watched the first season, and oh my God, yes! it's like a Toku, but it's it's dark and it's wonderful. And according to Frogs, he cannot wait for this. I'm not putting it word for word the way you put it, Froggy. Not happening. He started watching Garo for this, according to our little chat bar. And apparently it's all on TV Nihon, so go get it. And don't make fun of me, Froggy. I know it's a Toku, but my brain's kind of shot.
Does he have any relation to like the writer Inoue, like with Kamen Rider Fives and what all?
I don't think so. I'd have to look.
It'd be interesting.
But overall, to give my thoughts here, how to put this? I kind of find Masahiro Inoue's coming back for new roles to be hilarious because every time he comes back to be Decade, he makes sure to clearly state, "This is my last time coming back to Toku. I'm retiring after this."
And he fails.
No, and then he just comes back, and it's like, what happened to that whole retirement party?
Yeah, huh?
A 10-minute retirement.
There you go.
Once you go Toku, you can't go Toku, you know.
I mean, there are some that I just haven't seen come back. I mean, let me see if I can find his name. But I don't think Gattack's original actor has ever come back. I might be wrong.
Well, he's not come back in terms of actual physical acting, but he did reprise his voice role for Kamen Rider Super Heroes.
And, yeah, pretty much a lot of video games, but he hasn't had any Toku work outside of that.
I don't know. We'll just have to see how this goes, because I'm definitely going to have to pick up this series again. Definitely going to have to do that.
Yeah, he hasn't been back. Oh, I think he was in The Hero of Yoshiko. Okay. Yeah, he actually hasn't been doing much recently.
I still blame Decade.
As for, we'll see how this goes. I usually poke my head in with Garo every once in a while. That's about all I got for this. Anybody else?
I don't have anything else.
I've only seen like the first 2 episodes of the first season of Garo, and that was for another podcast I did. But outside of that, I haven't watched any other Garo.
Well, if that's the case, shall we move on?
Yes.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay. Robots.
Oh,
Ninja
God.
robots.
This is, we've already seen like this stuff before. This is not that much of news.
You know what I
they're
feel sometimes?
much more like up close in detail, and
Yeah.
I'm actually happy about that.
You know what I feel sometimes when it comes to Toei?
This is Bandai that's posting these pictures, though.
I know, but hear me out. When they come up with the concepts for the toys or the next series, I sometimes feel like they've gotten lazy because it's like I imagine them sitting in like this giant office, particularly when they come up with a new series, and they're like, "What are we gonna do? Ninjas? We'll get Power Ranger money anyway out of it. Let's go with ninjas."
I don't
with toys and all this other stuff.
I don't think it is entirely up to them on what everything looks like. Toei has a lot of pull in that department, and they've actually gone and explained a little bit why we have this really messed up setup, and I wish I could remember where the article was.
If you find it, I hope you will post it to us because
Yeah, I've come to accept how they look, but I'm still waiting for the context on why they're this assorted.
Well,
yeah,
it's not as much a in-show context, but from like the writing standpoint, they explain why.
well, I personally want to see an in-show context because I want to know what the humanoid, a dragon, a dump truck, a train, and a dog have to do with ninjas.
I can tell you what 3 of those have to do with ninjas.
Yeah, I can tell you what 3 of them have to do with, but the other 2 just make no damn sense. And then when you get into the whenever we get the UFO introduced, it's like, what the hell,
Space
man?
ninjas. I can tell you what. Someone at Toei has been playing Warframe.
Probably.
Well, then again, with all of this right here, what do you think about like Kamen Ranger and their mecha in comparison?
There was still something to that.
Yeah,
I can't give a full comparison in my own right, because like they're 2 different styles of what they're trying to do.
And Kamen Rider stuff was still technically all based on animals.
Yeah.
Real
yeah,
animals.
and not only that, with Kamen Ranger, their first mecha was the Shogun. So
That threw me for a loop.
And in that case, it was, as if I remember correctly, it was the castle becoming alive in essence.
Yeah, exactly. Very much so.
So
But one thing I want to point out, and this is why I actually really like these shots, is because we now get them more up close, and you can actually see that each individual mech has like the helmet crest of each of their ninja, except for the dragon, because the dragon's kind of a dick.
It's probably just not visible in that shot.
I think my favorite is the pink train, because I'm wondering what this little green thing is for.
the little green thing.
See right there on the crest on the front?
Yeah.
Why is there a green visor section?
Maybe at some point they'll make it to where the pink leg can become
Maybe. I mean, they do for the dragon, but
I mean, according to these pictures, like the dragon, we know the dragon can change and become a part of it. We know that the red thing can do it. So maybe at some point they'll introduce a way for the pink one to do it. I don't know.
I know what I want this to do. Because now that I'm looking at this, I realize something they could possibly do with this mecha, and I really hope that they do. Which is, who remembers how Zeo/O-Ranger's first mecha handled the powers, like with the swapping helmets?
Yeah.
I want them to do that, but also have the limbs be like Transformers Scramble City style, where any of them can be a limb or a core piece.
Well, what I'm seeing is that for the shuriken that comes the headpiece, technically that they can switch out which one goes on there, as seen there, and it doesn't work. And it works with more than just red and blue, because it's the ring part that goes on, so that can switch between those 2, as well as yellow, white, and pink.
Yeah, but I'm like, because when I look at parts of pink, it looks like there are some sections that might be able to like break off or something, but
yeah,
I might be wrong. But it would be really cool if they could do that. The other thing is, if you haven't, I wholeheartedly recommend you go find video of this thing at like a toy fair, because it makes the coolest sounds when the headpiece is attached.
Ooh. All right, then. I'm going to have to look into that.
That's why we got all these, like, super sound action balloons.
Well, they do that all the time for these kind of pictures.
Yeah, that is true. Alright.
So
Oh, there's the next article. But,
and before we move on, what do we think of the pictures of the cockpit for this mecha?
I want to make my own little version of this chair.
Yeah.
I still don't like it. It's just
See, I like this because you have the two most humanoid looking of the mecha. So you have the robot thing, and then you have the dragon, which has humanoid looking capabilities. You have those two that are able to sit in the chair, and that's what controls the damn thing.
Well, it's not even just them that do it. All the auxiliary mecha, like I think we're getting an elephant and the UFO and
Yep.
something else, but they all come with like a humanoid fighter.
Right. And whatever the humanoid thingy is, I'd have to go find the pictures again, but I think, and I'm hoping this is the case. God, I'm hoping this is the case, because if you know me, when it comes to a toy, I hate spare parts being just lying around. I think that there are no spare parts involved in this, meaning that, so like if the dragon's
unless you're not going to use the sword, the only thing that is possibly the sword and the shield here.
Well, no. What I mean is, say when they get the UFO and they get the little humanoid thing, I think the red guy can pop out and morph and connect to the mecha to where he's not a spare part or a spare Zord. I think.
I actually would kind of dig that, just for the sake of having, like, okay, we have the full mecha with the UFO attached, but Shinobi Maru is running around being a distraction.
Yeah.
I want smart usage of resources like that.
Yeah, I like I said, for anyone who's ever who's ever heard me on these podcasts, when it comes to talk to these toys, I hate spare parts. I don't like them. That's one reason why right now, with my ToQger, it is staying in Chocho Tokudayo. It will not. When I get a Hyper Resha, I will not be putting it into the Tokyu Rainbow. I will not do it.
Okay, here's the thing that I don't like about the whole chair thing. I don't like the way the arms and legs stick out. I wish it was more like, say, Fire Kaiser from Mighty Ranger, where basically, it had the arms pulled in, and for those who don't know about it, it had like the arms of Magifix go into the arms of Barikion, the horse thing. I kind of wish it would have the stuff, go in and not be sticking out. I just don't like that because it just looks awkward.
See, I like that. I like the way it's done like that because it's supposed to. The way it looks to me is like it looks like an emperor who is in control and is controlling controlling the battle. In essence, because that's just what it looks like to me.
Hang on, I'm gonna go check and see if I can find this article from way earlier, because I think they even say that about it. But for now, should we move on?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So let me see if I can find where I keep all the articles. Here they are. Up next, Kamen Rider Drive Secret Mission Type High Speed.
Oh boy, we get to see Silver. I
call dibs on first impressions, because this is actually cool.
Okay, go ahead.
Right out of the gate, I'm gonna say it. I love the little wing crest on his head. I love the fact that he has the symbols on his shoulders. I actually really like a lot of this.
I like the fact that his helmet is blue.
It's actually silver.
From a distance, it looks like it's blue.
That would be the light going off the silver.
Yeah.
Well, this is something that was technically already revealed earlier in the monthly magazine scans, and it's kind of skipping over the more important things of Drive Type Dead Heat and Dead Heat Monk. I mean, it looks nice, but like compared to those two, this is nothing.
I don't know. I actually like that they went back and changed up the type speed suit, because those look like brand new pauldrons.
Yeah, shoulder pads. Yes, I mean basically the idea here is that a luxury car, like a very expensive car.
It's a Porsche.
Nah, it's still not luxury. Bentley.
Bugatti.
That's not luxury. That's killing yourself.
In general.
But anyway, I've come to actually. I didn't think I would like these little secret mission type thingies because there's the 0 hour and then there's Televikun, and I didn't think I would like them. But it's kind of like a backstory and then a midpoint story, and that's actually pretty cool idea. So I guess this one will be the next one in line.
Yes.
Yeah.
We hope. Hopefully it's not another prequel. So I don't know. We'll see.
We have one quick one. Anybody have other thoughts on high speed?
Nope.
Nope.
Okay. Super duper quick. It has been revealed that the 46th episode of ToQger will air on February 8th.
Yes. For anyone that's wondering why, something a reporter was, if I understand correctly, was
taken down by ISIS.
And so Drive was able to air normal. It was able to air normally, but ToQger was not. So ToQger aired today.
Yep.
So that's a quick one. But that's the reason why we. That's the reason why it was a week late. Was because things happened with ISIS. And we are not going to get political.
That is correct. Moving on to something that could be political. Rick Medina has been cleared of all charges and released from jail.
Yeah, man.
I'm very particularly happy for this because it's really unfortunate that the media tends to just
Oh yeah, no, I'm awaiting stuff like Fox News to pick this up and try and spin it on like Power Rangers is the work of the devil and you should not let your kids
Why would
work.
Fox News care about Power Rangers?
Fox News, the problem with them is they over-sensualize everything.
Yeah,
And
look at the facts wrong, too.
We're not going to get too political. I'm just making a crack.
Sensationalize.
There you go, sensationalize, that's it. That's the right word.
Yep, but
Not the word I used.
Too political here. The one thing I won't lie, I did make a bit of a crack about this because if you actually follow news involving the Wild Force cast, is apparently very well known. Rick Medina Jr. is not the most likable person.
The way that I understood it is that he was he was not a social butterfly. Pretty much he came out. Pretty much he was the exact opposite of his Wild Force persona. Whereas his Wild Force persona was very outgoing and loved having friends and all this. Rick Medina did not. He was very secluded. As soon as they were done filming, he was in his trailer and done.
Yep.
Yeah, I've seen the YouTube videos of him doing interviews and all, and he seems like a nice guy though. So.
Oh yeah, no, he's nice when he needs to be. Is basically the best way to put it. But
Yeah.
I did make a bit of a crack.
I'm finally talking. Sorry, right here.
And
At Morphicon, he showed up 2 days late and then cussed in front of young children.
Really?
But that's just Rick Medina, so it's whatever. But since he showed up 2 days late, he was all like, "I'll just take pictures and give autographs for free to everybody." Since I showed up 2 days late and missed a whole bunch of stuff.
At least he made it his own fault. Yeah, no, he's free. For those who don't know the scandal, basically. Oh boy, I get to explain this again for like the third time.
Millionth time.
Hold on. Since nobody's saying it, I can say it's been a crazy week for Rick Medina.
Oh Lord.
What's funny about that?
Because it took him a week. It took him a week to get into jail and then to get out.
Okay.
Get the stick.
Right.
Basically, Medina got in a heated argument with his roommate, retreated to his room with his girlfriend, locked the door, roommate broke in, and Medina defended himself, killing his roommate.
I mean, and from what I can understand, everyone's calling it self-defense.
Well, it was.
So, I mean, that's what I would call it. It's very it really is self-defense. Breaks in, starts being an idiot. Sorry, you're going to get your ass cut. Or in this case, worse.
Yeah, no. And, yeah, so...
Well, a lot of PR actors actually came to his defense, including, like, Pauly Schreier, Jason Font, you know.
Alright.
Is that it was desperate times called for desperate measures of self-defense. Like, I don't think he's a bad person. Was self-defense, and that's all I'm gonna say. That he's not a bad person.
Nope, he's just a very quiet person.
But see, then, and I know this is probably going to cause a lot of viewers to hate me in particular, so hate me and nobody else. Jason David Frank was a bit of an ass about it.
Are we really having this conversation? Are we having this conversation?
Ego is still big. It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
I mean, it's like yeah.
I mean,
I'd rather not have this conversation because, in all honesty, he not only backed his position up, but he explained and justified it. Both sides were right. Just it's not something that needs to be said.
Okay.
Okay, I'll drop it. I'll be not. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Moving on to more,
movie wars.
Enjoyable stuff. So, okay, I wonder. Toei is really gambling now because they've already confirmed that there's going to be another Kamen Rider movie war after GP. What the hell?
These people must be desperate. I mean, oh my god. So, these people just
I'm not mad about it. I'm just wondering, like, are you really sure that Tyson GP is gonna really
Tank again?
wow?
Well, you don't notice that says 2016 there, so.
Yeah, I know, but it's the Tyson movies don't do super great, but we'll see.
The original movie,
the Tyson movies are really good to some, and then really, really horrible to others. So I see
If
what
if I may
Go ahead.
sorry, you go ahead.
My thing, the thing that I wonder is this: how are they guaranteeing that GP is going to be so good that they're going to want to make another one again? It's like,
No.
why?
Money?
But the thing is,
Toy?
but the thing is, if say GP just flops, like totally 100% flops.
Well, okay, actually, I'm gonna stop for a second and pull back, because now I'm rereading this a bit more, and I'm actually now more excited for this, because it's not going to be like Heisei vs. Showa or the superhero Tyson movies. It's, if anybody remembers stuff like Movie War Megamax, it's going to be like that.
Okay.
Oh.
Because it's going to be, as they say, Kamen Rider Movie War 16 will open this fall. The upcoming Movie Wars film will feature Drive's final adventure. It's going to be his epilogue.
Yeah, so it means that movie War Full Throttle did well enough, or they already confirmed that.
Yep. I apologize to everyone. I misread this as going to be part of one of the Yonemura Tyson movies and not the crossover Tyson movies, because I got them mixed up.
Uh-huh.
Okay, we can handle the crossover Tyson movie. Alright.
They also already confirmed Drive and Ninja movies. These are also important.
That always, obviously, that's going to happen.
Dude, okay, we need to start moving a bit faster because, goodness gracious, there's so much news. I'm already 30 minutes in.
Okay.
And plus plus we have one more article that KRX put in. But
Well,
put in as catch-up. Just a bit of catch-up.
yeah.
Okay. I'm actually going to be that guy and start cutting some of the articles, because a lot of these are either us talking about a video or talking about a song.
That's fine.
The only video one I'm keeping in is going to be the alleged Power Rangers thing.
All right.
So, moving on. Kamen Rider Gaiden, Proto-Suika.
This was inevitable, and I'm not buying this.
I might. I honest to God might, just because if that's what it does, not creating the great big ass armor, I like it. I want it.
This is the prototype to the one that creates the armor, but the thing is, and this is why I actually want it, because this thing is another chance to get the Zangetsu faceplate.
That is a good point.
But it's different.
No, they've shown images. It looks the same.
Except the crest is red.
No, I've seen the image. It's still the golden crest.
No.
I'm gonna go. Where the heck is? Oh, I saw it. It looked the same. I will be sad.
I mean, if nothing else,
See?
Volt, I tell you what, if you want the golden crest, when I finally get me a Muso Saber, I think that's what it's called.
I
will
don't. The original Zangetsu faceplate was like a first. I believe it was like a first print press exclusive to the Muso Saber. Anything after that doesn't come with it.
Yeah, well, actually, no. It was a campaign item.
Yeah.
You can find them being sold.
But for like Hey, you want this Zangetsu faceplate? $40.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, anywho, I really like. I really honestly like this.
I like it because it takes the Melon Defender and attaches a Gatling gun to it.
Yes. That's pretty kick-ass. I cannot wait to see this in the movie. I want to see this in the movie.
Yeah.
Although,
Pretty
I'm
much
wondering what these are about.
that's just one of the types of opening mechanisms. That's the same as the lock scene, the mango lock scene.
yeah, there's a few different opening mechanisms. One's just a little button, like what's on the orange. One, like what's on the banana, where you pull the thing back, and then then Ryugen, or Budo as it's called, has those three buttons, like what that one
But
does.
only the top one actually works.
Right.
Okay. Any other opinions?
I want it.
I'm just tired of supporting this. I just want this to stop. I think they're trying to milk this a bit too far, and I'm not going to support it. Other people can find, but I'm not going to.
Speak with the wallet. Alright, so next article? Or okay. One that I'm sure KRX is excited for. Ultra Fight Victory spinoff.
Yeah, I am very interested in this. I actually technically fell out of Ultraman Genghis. I didn't finish it. I can finish it. I just I don't know, I kind of dropped a little bit. I do plan to finish it, but I think I'm going to wait until a subgroup actually gets selling it. That being said, from how much I've seen, I do very much like Ultraman Victory, so I am excited to see him getting his own spin-off.
How about we go ahead and decide this should be one of the series that we do a podcast on? I'd watch it.
I think we should do. I think if anything, we should wait for Ultraman Ginga S to get subbed and then cover that. Because let me tell you, it is an amazing series.
I've been hearing that. Yeah, I'm trying to find one other article thing here. Is there is something that needs to be talked about. There it is. Okay. I'm just glad we're getting more Ultra stuff, because I was worried that the big guys were starting to fade.
It seems to me, based on what I have seen of Ultraman, it seems to me like they come and go.
Well, I'm not sure how well or not Ultraman Ginga S is doing, but I do know that Tsuburaya is trying to push it out because they have actually been putting episodes, not subtitled, but they've been putting episodes of it on their YouTube channel.
Ooh.
I mean, so they are trying to push it, and I hope it's doing well. I generally
Excited for that.
do, and I know simply because it's also getting a movie coming out that will have a bunch of past Ultramen. I really hope it does well, and I'm guessing that because we're getting this, it means it has at least done well enough for Victory to get his own series.
Yep.
Okay.
Anything else?
I don't have anything else to say on it.
Okay. Moving to the next thing. Gotta make this one quick. Alleged Power Rangers film thing pitched. I'm gonna say one thing about this. I really liked the fighting. It was really cool. But then the mecha happened, and I was like, that robot's trying way too hard to be a Gundam.
I thought this is actually kind of old, and this was something that actually occurred when Disney had the rights to Power Rangers, but nothing ever happened with it.
Yeah, I thought this was pretty cool, but I thought the robot looked more like Gurren Lagann than Gundam.
Yeah, but it seems that this is actually something that was dug up, and this is something that's not going to be happening. I don't
The
think.
suits look very CGI-ish.
Well,
Oh,
that's because it was.
That's because it is CG. It's
It's
yeah,
an
fully
animated
CG.
film trailer. I would love to see it. Like, I'm hoping that somebody downloaded it and will re-upload it and just say
Well,
like,
it was a pitch. There is no full movie of this.
oh, I know, but see, I didn't get a chance to see the trailer, so I'd love to see the trailer for it. That
Oh,
pitch.
I'm sure it's up everywhere if you look
No,
on it.
ironically, this is just a side hit that's not really Toku. I want to know who is the people behind. I mean, obviously, this was Disney, but I want to know the people that were behind this trailer because there is a organization in France that's doing. I think they're working with Disney, Pixar, Viz to do this show called or movie or whatever called Ladybug, and the Yellow Ranger when she took off her helmet looks a lot like Ladybug. I don't know if you guys ever heard of Ladybug. Pretty much like
I've heard of it. Yeah.
3D animated story that's similar to like Codename Sailor V.
Interesting.
I just want the crew who did the animation work for this to get more work in something with fighting because that was some really good work.
Yes, it was. It's
Well,
very good.
if you're saying that the Megazord looked like a Gundam, it might not be too far-fetched of an idea for there to be a similar Gundam series come about.
Gundam tries really, really hard not to use really overt CGI. Like if you actually go and watch Unicorn, yeah, you can see it's CGI, but you really have to look and be like, is that? Yes, it is, but wow, it actually looked drawn.
I guess the animators won't want to stay with the original concept. In that instance.
I guess. Any other thoughts?
Nope.
No, sir.
Wonder if they're gonna put green in there, huh?
Moving on to the face that gives me nightmares. We've gotten to meet Sledge, Poisendra, and the Keeper in Dino Charge, which I'm actually going to watch the first episode soon because
It's actually pretty good.
Yeah, I've
That's
heard
what I
people say
keep
that actually
Online
feels like
briefing,
Power
I'm
Rangers.
definitely going to be watching this series for sure.
Surprisingly, I actually liked it myself too.
I watched the first episode, and I was so happy.
What Power Rangers was before Samurai.
Yes.
It had original even the friggin' mooks, look, they don't look like they do in ToQger very much.
And the thing about
ToQger.
this,
Or Kyoryuger. Oh my god.
and the thing about this,
Are the
to
same
me-
moves, actually.
The back of the helmet, the green stuff looks very different. 'Cause
Well, I
remember in
guess they're like original helmets. Like,
Yeah.
slightly different. It's the same design.
yeah, but like just changing the helmet makes them feel different.
Uh-huh.
This big guy in the front here, I like him.
He's
It looks
interesting,
like-
but he looks like a football player.
Who made his armor out of an old trash can.
yeah.
Doesn't anybody think that the Keeper looks a little bit like Dapu from Car Ranger?
You mean Laragog?
Well, no, I mean actually for like the
No,
mentor
no.
for Car Ranger.
Dapu from Car Ranger. There was a little wizard in Car Ranger
Yeah.
that gave them their car magic.
I don't know that character, so I wouldn't know.
I don't think he looks like that. He looks like a gremlin. He's
The one thing that I look
To me, he looks like something that came out of Skylanders.
yeah, that too. This guy, he's not pleasant to look at for me.
To me, the only thing weird about him is the mouth movements. Like, that mouth is not animated enough.
That and those soul-piercing dead eyes.
I don't know, I find them, kind of reptilian, kind of lizard-like. They work to me.
I know, it's just, man, they creep me out a bit.
Hmm.
But I've heard nothing but, like, holy crud, this stuff looks really good. And if that is the case, I will go to the top of the towers and sing for everybody to watch this.
The thing that I like about this so far, just from the first episode, there's already a lot, and I mean a lot of original footage that they had to create. It's not all.
It was like the whole episode.
Right.
Although, as
It's
far
not
as the events plot, I'll say is that their CG model for the Tyrannosaurus sword was not as good as the Japanese CG model for Gabuchira.
I'm going to overlook that.
It was downgrade.
I'd say the only thing that actually had like Japanese footage from this episode was the opening.
Yeah.
Yes?
Yeah. I mean, the fact that so far all that I have seen has been original footage that has been created. Even the fight between, oh God,
Red and pink?
Red and Pink. We're just going to go with that. Yeah, with those two, even that was even the morphed scene was completely new. It was not from Kyoryuger at all.
Which
So,
is good. I now need to make this comment before it leaves my brain because I just realized what about this guy's suit that makes me laugh. He looks like he's in some way related to Grum.
Yeah, kind of.
I think he looks like a mutated version of one of the foot soldiers from Power Rangers Turbo.
Oh God, the Piranha Drive.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
You know, the one thing that I'm looking forward to with Dino Charge is that, if I recall, there was an interview and they said that they were going to use elements of Go Busters into Dino Charge.
Yeah, but that's starting to seem a bit less likely now.
Of course. I mean, obviously, yes, but the one thing, like, if I know Saban, and this is this weird theory and I'm telling you, it's more than likely not going to happen. So I get it, but, with Saban, it's been a while since they did this evil, like, this story of an evil Power Ranger in a while. So, like, it would be interesting, since it's dinosaurs, if they had an evil, like, mammal ranger, and what comes to mind is, like, an American adaptation of Enter. Just, saying.
Well, what comes to mind that they could possibly do, I see where you're going with that, and that sounds pretty cool, but another idea, if they were to try to incorporate anything of Go Busters in, maybe the morphing brace would end up being the battleizer.
I don't want that at all.
No, I don't want that at all. Especially since, like, I love this guy, Zaren Zephyr. He put a morphin brace on Kyoryu Red at Power Morphicon, and it caused
I hate him for that. I really do hate him for that, among other things.
I love Zaren Zephyr.
Oh God, that was so
He's
funny.
hilarious.
Everybody at the con was freaking out so bad. I was in a panel when it was going down.
That was freaking vandalism. It was vandalism, man, and it was freaking people.
I was like,
so messed up.
I was in a panel during the time it happened, and I would just my phone started blowing up with nothing but pictures, and Eric just kept messaging me and calling me, and he was all like, "Yo, what is going on right now?" And I was like, "Dude, this is something Zero Zephyr did. Like, I was just out there and I saw the statue. This was not on the statue."
Yeah, that just made me livid, because A, that is messing with something you're not supposed to, and B, that is freaking tricking people majorly.
Yeah, I do not condone it either, and before we all go down a very dark path of anger, I suggest we move on, because we're already at 50 minutes.
Hey.
Yeah. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out. There had been the rumors that Go Busters was going to somehow make an appearance. Like I said, they could probably keep the mini Tira as the battleizer for Red, and do like they always do, or not always, but find a way to make a battleizer form for the others, and it involved the morph embrace. I don't know.
I
Personally,
I don't think they do that. The issue is, uh-oh.
I'm just going to mute myself.
Banana phone. The issue is with that, to me, is they already have something that they can make the battleizer, which is Carnival.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing...
No, that's Super Dino Charge.
Probably. I mean, if you look at Dino Thunder with the Triassic Ranger, that was in Abba Ranger, but they decided to add to it with the Triassic Battleizer, which I actually liked.
Yeah.
Not to mention they actually threw the battleizer from SBD into the Maji Deca hookup.
Yep.
Yeah.
That was funny.
Although either Megaforce or Super Megaforce had anything original in terms of that, so
That's because that was Megaforce and Super Megaforce.
Yes.
They did create Shogun mode for Super Samurai, but they didn't do anything for either section of Megaforce, so it's unknown what they're going to do here.
Unless you count the Gokai suits, but that's all different story.
Well, that's mostly because of Zacher. Zacher really likes
pissed off the series.
No, he just likes really hard trying to make sure Power Rangers sticks as close to Sentai as possible.
I'm glad.
So that's why there was no battleizer, no like unique original footage or power-ups. And it's just
Wait. Who likes to keep it original?
Or no, he Jonathan Zacher likes to keep it to as close to Sentai as possible.
That's kind of why Samurai failed, because Zacher.
Yeah.
Wow.
I will say one thing that actually has me curious with how Dino Charge handles this. Thank you, Hero Geddon, in the comments for bringing this up. I want to know how they're going to handle Death Ryuger.
If they make him into a Power Ranger, that would be kind of neat to
see. That's assuming that they even bring up Death Ryuger.
Hmm.
Well,
I'm sure they would, but I'm actually now curious on how they'll handle Death Ryuger and Kyoryu Navy.
Yeah.
Well, apparently the Dino Charge morpher was hacked, and the sound for that sound for Spinosaurus. Dino Charger that would create something called the Talon Ranger.
Yeah, that's what the Ranger Wiki says. They call him Talon Ranger. And not to mention they call
something with the Spinosaurus Dino and the associated Ranger.
Ooh, I'm now coming up with theories about this because this. Okay, I'm only gonna drop one of these, and then we're gonna move on because we got stuff to do. But because he's called Talon, because it says Talon Ranger, and Death Ryuger's color scheme looks a lot like Tauren.
Mm-hmm.
I think what's going to happen is whoever becomes Death Ryuger is going to mutate into Tauren's suit.
Maybe.
That's a possibility, but then again, look at this dude with the soulless, piercing eyes.
If he becomes Tauren, I'll be fine.
But what if he stays the way he is? Because he looks like a humanoid dinosaur in some ways.
Well, birds are technically dinosaurs, but seriously, we got to move on. We got we got one more article that might have a bit more talk, and then two that are going to be really quick.
Yes.
So moving on to something that's a bit relevant. Actually, I'm going to move this to when we're going to go over to talking about Drive. So, one really quick thing. Live action Astro Boy is on the way.
Mm-hmm.
Woo!
I don't know if you guys like Astro Boy, but I love him.
I think he's cool, and I liked the CGI movie from a few years ago.
I did.
You know what's funny? That movie pretty much fell off the face of the earth after its release.
It pretty much did.
Like, I forgot that even existed until I read about it on IGN, and I was all like, holy shit, I saw that movie, and I forgot about it.
When was it released?
Exactly.
Like 2009, right?
I don't... 2000... Sure, let's say 9. Don't quite remember.
2000 sure. Let's be more definite. 2000 sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
But, yeah, to flush this story out, Hollywood Reporter revealed that the production company Animal Logic Entertainment, the people behind Happy Feet and the Lego Movie, have teamed up with
I love Happy Feet.
Tezuka Productions, and they are going to be making an Astro Boy film.
Woohoo! Well, hopefully there's no sing-along, but I love Happy Feet. So I'm actually excited for this.
And if you are an amazing writer, go talk to them, because apparently they're looking for writers.
Oh, please be a good writer.
Ooh. Ooh.
Okay,
I
then.
could get famous!
Okay, any other thoughts?
Nope.
Okay.
I thought it's fantastic.
We're gonna talk about something that has had some of the Toku-verse in a bit of a tizzy. Ladies and gentlemen, Ninja Gold.
The series hasn't even started yet, and we're already getting a sixth
Whoa.
ranger.
When did this get into the articles? I don't even remember this happening.
I brought it in because I want to talk about this
Is that
on the
this is
phone.
meaning for McDonald's Happy Meals?
Well, then again,
Don't get the article I put in.
No. I have yours. I
Okay.
have yours, Tomas.
Hey, now
Okay.
they could literally... So now the McDonald's sponsorships at the beginning of the shows can be taken quite literal now.
Yes!
Well, okay, so let's start from the beginning. The sixth ranger is a gold ranger called Star Ninja, and his theme is a cowboy.
Yep.
Okay, but if he's a cowboy, what the heck does a guitar and a hamburger have to do with that?
Oh no! This is not just any. This is not just any guitar. This is a guitar that is also a sword and a gun.
Well, okay, I'm pretty sure they're taking the concept of-
Hurricaneer from Hurricaneer had a guitar, didn't he?
Yes.
Yeah, I think
And
This
you're taking the concept of the American Ninja that first started in Kaku Ranger with Ninja Black,
Ninja Black.
and turning that concept into a ranger.
But
There are a couple things with it.
Well,
There are a couple
Gold
things
had a sushi changer.
kind of bug me, and I talked with a very good friend of mine. He's been on the podcast before, Pixel. He looked he looked at this, and he actually just said, "I'm mad. Everything about this is great until I get to that damn hamburger." Because and it might have, because him and me both made the joke that no American can be complete without this.
Yeah, the amount of American here is very clear.
oh my god. Oh god. Okay.
I mean, I get the guitar thing because they've actually been doing that for a really long time. For anyone who's seen King of Braves, Gao Gaigar, a robot by the name of Mike Saunders shows up, and he's from America, and his transformed state is a giant robot that plays guitar.
His this guitar looks like just a remold of the Zombot sword.
Kind of.
Be cool with that. But it is also a
A
gun.
gun.
Yes, it is a gun. It's the Zombot sword without the shaft.
Guitar isn't actually in the actual name because it's called the Star Sword Gun.
Oh, this is gonna be great. I actually can't wait for this guy. There's more news about him involving we've already seen his mecha and his gaptai with the shurikenjin. But
Spoilers, he appears in the second episode. That's why we know about him already.
really?
What?
No, I'm kidding. What the fuck? Why would you take me seriously?
Well, I don't know, Adrian, because you're the guy that said Spider-Man from the 19-something nonsense Toku show dies in the next panel.
Okay,
Thanks.
okay. Japanese Spider-Man dies in the next page of Spider-Verse Part 3. Die. Drink bleach.
Thanks, buddy. I really appreciate that.
I love you.
All right.
I love you
Ribbit.
too.
What? All right. Now we got to move on to the last thing. Then we need to go to the main topic. Ready, 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 go! It's time for some dead heat. Okay, we got images of both Drive and Mach Dead Heat, and I like them. I
do
Yeah,
too.
I wanted to bring this up because, this is, from the Amazing Scans, and it is something new. It's a new form, the first power-up, and it's basically continuing the theme from last year of the first power being a fusion power-up. This is Drive and Mach's powers combined, and I really love the suit. It's taking the best aspects of both suits, combining them, and then creating a cool new helmet. That's actually 2-in-1 because that spoiler on top of Drive flips down to create Mach's visor.
I actually really dig that as a concept entirely.
Yeah.
When was the last time we had a fusion power like this?
I'm not sure.
Because I mean, you could kind of count Forza Meteor fusion states, but
Yeah. But I'm saying, this is kind of continuing the trend from last year with the Jinba Lemon arms and the other Jinba arms, but it's really much better because it's actually fusion. Instead of having the two fruits fused to make something that isn't even a fruit.
no. There is one thing that does bug me, but it's such a minor complaint, and I'm gonna have to do this in order to do it. But it's the difference in the tires along their chest, because Drives is more solid and has the detailing of the grip, but then you go to Mach, who looks like he has an inflatable tube around his chest.
Yeah, that's really the same thing. I don't know why it's like that. It's possibly using two different ones. It's possibly using the display tire on Drive and then the action tire on Mach.
Possibly.
Well, see,
In this one, they also both have a tire and a signal.
think about it. One's a car, one's a motorcycle.
True, but I don't
I mean, yes, motorcycle tires are not that wobbly as what Mach's
know. Not
did.
even that thin.
Not even that thin. But it's thinner than a car tire. So it stands to believe that they're kind of differentiating the forms other than the helmet. Other than the helmet being the differentiating thing, they're using the tire as another differentiating thing.
Well, it's technically supposed to be the same tire for both of them. Like I said, I think they're just using different versions in these pictures, as far as actual suits go.
If there is one thing in this that I need to ask. Who is this guy?
That is Harley Hendrickson, the man who made the Mach Driver Hono, and also made the Chip Dead Pizza.
Oh, this is gonna be the best.
Oh God! Oh God!
This is gonna be the best.
You are going to love this guy. He is freaking crazy.
Oh God, this is gonna be great.
He looks like okay. You know who that guy reminds me of? Just his face. Okay. Supreme Kai from Dragon Ball Z.
Oh no! That's not Supreme. That's not
the man who played the scientist who created the suit for Master Rider Super 1.
I know, but see, I'm looking.
No. I know who you're talking about, but as a DBZ, fan. I can't let that mistake go. Supreme Kai is the tiny young purple one. You're thinking of Grand Kai.
Yeah, that's it, Grand Kai. It's been years since I've watched DBZ, okay? Grand
Fix
Kai.
that!
But like I was saying,
Okay,
as a
fine. I'll watch Dragon Ball Z Kai.
actor also portrayed the professor in Smash Bros. Super 1, and there have been comparisons made between Mach and Super 1. Like, people have been noticing similarities, and it's possible that Mach is a shout-out to Super 1.
I actually can entirely see that, especially when he pulls the visor up. By the way, I want to just point out that he totally is borrowing the Rider drill kick from Forza.
Yeah, that would be Mach Arab, or, him using the Rumble Dump shift cutter.
Yep.
Rumble dump.
It's the
Damn.
jump.
So, can we go back to Dead Heat, Drive Dead Heat again?
Yeah?
It looks like a bumblebee. That's his face. His face looks like a bumblebee. Or a wasp, in my opinion.
Flight of the Bumblebee.
Mach, because he has the antenna and whatnot.
Oh, my.
Wait, what?
Do you mean Mach because of the antenna and whatnot?
No. I said Drive.
Okay.
I think
I can
Drive, Dead Heat Drive looks like some sort of like wasp, and like regular Drive looks like a bumblebee.
It's really just because of the spoiler, I think.
Oh well. Any other thoughts?
Nope.
Man.
No, I think that's going to cover it because this is in the most recent episode. Well, two most recent episodes, and not everybody here has seen that, so we're kind of covering that base there.
All right.
Quite be covering this in discussion.
All right, well, without
If
further...
that is everything, I'm gonna hit this stop button, and y'all get to see my lovely face again.
Once I-
You.
Really, everything? I thought we had more articles than that.
We did, but I cut them out because we are now at an hour.
Okay.
So, if you cannot tell by the title, we are bringing forth our comments, our remarks and opinions of the first 16 episodes of Kamen Rider Drive. I'm not going to start this. So I'm going to let... who?
Eric.
Go for it!
I really love Drive because after, I was very apprehensive about it initially, particularly because it was following Gaim, and it's really hard to follow up something like that. I love, the creator, when he was talking about it, he said it's going to be a mix of
So if they learned on it, they can double the amount.
and Knight Rider. And I love how each episode is like a question. It's like it's like a question mark. What's going on? It kind of reminded me of Go Busters with each episode is a mission. It's like an investigation for each episode, and
Right.
Shanosuke, I believe that's his character again. The main.
Yes.
Shinosuke.
Spin for short.
I absolutely love that character. The whole cop investigation thing. I just love it, and I feel like it's followed up very well with After Gaim. It's very good follow up for the show.
The thing that I'm liking so far about this series is that it delves into the actual detective work.
Yeah.
I've said this before, and I'm probably going to get slapped for this, Bolt. If you want to get the stick, go ahead. But I had an issue with Double because he's supposed to be a detective, and I didn't really see detective work being
Brought
done.
that up.
Do what?
I was the one who brought that up originally.
Okay, but you brought it up, but then it made me see it. This is awesome. This is a good, not really reprieve, but it's basically what we should be getting with a detective thing. And I so far the storyline, I like the storyline. I love it.
Cinderella.
The character development. In one episode, we had more character development with just like the two main characters than the other than double.
I can kind of see what you're trying to say.
Yeah, I'm having brain parts right now.
It's okay.
But I think the thing that I like about this is it seems to me like he goes into these moments, and it's not that it seems to me, he does. He gets in these moments where he's in what he calls his top gear, Shinosuke, the main guy. And you can always tell if he's in his top gear, if his brain is working at full capacity, because his tie is all the way up. If it's loose, it's just sort of, whatever, I don't care. It's not really necessarily that attitude, but that's kind of the thinking. But then when his tie is all the way up, he's like, I'm in top gear. I know what I've got to do, and blah blah blah.
Not just him being in top gear, but he actually says that his brain cells are in top gear. That part doesn't often translate, but that's actually translation for what he's saying.
Right. I just and I've so far I haven't been able to find something extremely negative that I can say. I just can't. There's probably something in there, but I'm just not seeing it. In terms of the toy line, the one thing that I'm actually glad to see, and I know that as soon as I say this, that it's going to go all to hell, but the fact that we are not seeing like a Forza car and an O's shift car. It's basically the toy line is sticking to the story. It's not taking this aspect of past Kamen Riders and incorporating it. Some aspect like there's not a Kiva shift car. It's strictly the series shift cars.
Well, here's the thing. It's possible that could happen in the toy line later because I have the driver, and some of those are in there. I don't know if they're going to be released or when, but they could.
You just ruined my happy.
Look, I'm not saying it's ever going to be. I'm not saying it's ever going to be like integrated into the show or any of the movies, but I'm saying it's possible that they could release that stuff.
We'll just have to wait and see what happens. But I mean, so far, I'm glad that they're not doing that because, yes, it's cool. Like if they incorporate some stuff into the series or into the show or into the series itself, like Gaim did with the 4 lock seeds.
Well, they actually don't often integrate Legend Rider stuff in the show. Unless for like a special movie or something. Actually, they don't ever really integrate that stuff into the show proper. It's usually just for movies.
Well, depending upon what movie it is, I say incorporate it into the show because sometimes the movies are considered canon. So it's something that's happening. It's not like a separate universe that's happening with all of this. It's the universe, and it's even vaguely acknowledged a little bit. You just kind of have to catch the subtle hints in the series. But anyway, I'm okay with like a couple being integrated into a movie or into the series or whatever. But when they start bringing up like all the ones from, like Amazon and B1 and B2 and B3, that's just when it gets a little too old and they're strictly looking at it for money sales, for toy sales. And I have issues with that. But so far, I am ecstatic with, even though I don't have a driver yet, I vowed I would never get one.
Now you want one?
Now, Well, I'm trying to decide if I want the drive driver or if I want the mock bike. Or want the signal driver.
Mock driver.
Mock? Okay, that thing, yeah.
Yeah, if you'd let me go next.
Go ahead.
So, if you couldn't tell by how I'm actually wearing the gift bracelet, I absolutely love Drive. I am just so into the series. I am so digging it. From the first episode, I just kind of fell in love with this series. I love that it changes things up. You know, to me, I was, in the same boat as a lot of other people with how it's kind of off-put by how he's so to have a car instead of a bike. But actually watching the series, I love it because the car is so essential to the show. He needs it to transform. He needs it to change types, to change his tires. It's so essential to the show, and you see it all the time in just about every episode. And that's just one of the things I like. It's got great characters. I mean, the fact that, again, something that doesn't happen very often, but the belt is actually a character. It just adds so much to the series. And I love what they do with it. Like, they give the belt a backstory because, he wasn't always a belt. And there is something to that. And the way that they kind of work in that backstory is really subtle. Like, to me, everything kind of clicks. They go, not only that, but, they kind of go full on into the car motif because they base just about everything with them on, either a certain kind of car or a car part, and it kind of all clicks together. I love it when a series can both get it so much into its motif, and yet at the same time not take itself too seriously, and that's what Drive is doing. Like, it's the point where, as you can see, I am feeling about it because I like it so much. Like, this is just a series that clicks so much with me because of how well done I think it is as a writer.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't the last living belt Kiva?
Yeah, the last belt that had any kind of personality, any kind of sentience, was the Kivat belt, Kivat Bat III.
Right. That's why I thought it was Kivat the third, Kivat the second. I think even Sagark was
and
all of the belts there, save for Ixa,
save for Ixa,
were alive.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
And the thing is that, like with Kivat, Mr. Belt, as the driver is called as a character, is not like just some kind of AI with a boring blend personality. He has human personality. He has a very witty sense of humor, and he helps out with explaining backstory, but he also adds in his own bit of humor and is able to be serious, but also humorous.
See, if you ask me, I think you were talking about the car itself being essential to me because, and this is just the way I see it. To me, it's almost like the car through Mr. Belt is sentient itself.
Well, yeah, because basically there are various scenes where you see the car driving itself. That's because Mr. Belt is the core of the fighter on the car. So you can't actually remote control without needing anybody inside. Like, I think it's the most involved a rider machine has been in years. Especially when you compare it to this kind where
I got off from my phone.
Just so unimportant that they were pretty much disposable.
Right.
Yeah, I saw the podcast. Yeah.
Personally, this will be the last thing that I say, and then I'm gonna let someone else talk because I don't want to override anybody. But I like it when the belt can be part of the series and not just be the transformation device. I like Kiva to some degree, like Kabuto, because I think even though they weren't alive or with the level of sentience that we consider sentient, they were to some degree sentient because they did come to their because they did have some they had some sort of computing ability and knowledge base, even though they didn't talk.
And not just the belt, but also the shift cards themselves have their own AI. Though
Yes.
they all speak in honks and beeps, they still have their own AI and their own personality, so they are able to help out even when they're not being used by Drive.
And the same is true for the signal bikes. And
Right.
and if I remember, in one of the little secret mission thingies that they came out with,
Yeah, there actually was an adventure about two of the shift cars, and you actually had to, like, delving into their personalities because you had the characters interpreting their speech.
exactly. And at the end of that one, Shinosuke actually finally begins to understand the honks and the beeps.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I would like if they were able to talk, but I still like that they do have their own personalities, and you're at least able to get the characters to explain what they're talking about.
right. So I've said a lot. Who wants to say so? Who wants to be next?
I want the cars to talk. I really
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
I really want the shift cars to talk.
It would be interesting.
It would give them so much more character. I mean, as you have said, and you are right, they already have character, but giving them a voice would just make it really fun.
I mean, I think the reason why they haven't done so is that I think that if they did, they'd be expected to hire a different voice actor for each shift car, and that would mean like paying a lot more money just to give voices to these little these tiny cars.
I think the one way I would enjoy... I actually can think of a way you could do that without having to hire too many. In fact, you would only have to hire a few, but you could... Each of the type shift cars could have a voice actor, and that voice actor is responsible for changing his pitch and tone for each shift car that is associated with that type.
Well, I see what you're saying.
But that's just me trying to break down costs and not... Okay.
I actually, real quick, I have a better idea. Instead of hiring voice actors for that, instead of giving them a voice at least in a way for us to understand them, why not do like TV Nihon and Overtime already do for us? They already subtitle. They already put subtitles so that we can watch it.
Oh no, I think I know where you're going, like having their own language and subtitles for it, like we did with the Gorongi and...
Yeah, but in this case, I think they would just do like actual Japanese subtitles because there's no reason for these AI-controlled miniature cars to have their own language.
Right.
This is true.
I mean, and they're supposed to be able to communicate with Mr. Belt for him to understand. He spoke Japanese, so he has to be able to interpret it. So instead of like in Gaim, where the overlords have their own language that can't be understood because they were a different race of people, why not have it to where there's just like subtitles at the bottom, and it's in Japanese, and then that gets translated to where we can understand what the cars are saying, but that does not give them, but it doesn't require the hiring of voice actors.
That being said, they've also managed to express their personality through their movement as well.
Yeah.
Yep.
Anything else you want to say, Volt?
I'm sorry. I thought other people were going to continue talking about that one thing. Okay, I will openly admit this. When I first watched this, I was like still decompressing from Gaim, and part of me was like, I'm going to enjoy this because it's not Gaim, and I will finally be able to just let go a bit. Because if you've watched this podcast multiple times, you will know I do not like the ending half of Gaim. So, whatever.
No.
Overall, though, I stuck it out to the debut of Type Wild while it was airing, and then just due to a combination of the fights in some episodes were a bit lackluster and a bit of I was getting busy with a bunch of stuff, I kind of put the show down. Now that I've come back and started watching it again, I am super duper happy because the story has picked up, the fighting has been improving, everything's been getting more streamlined instead of, wait, hold on a second, just pause the fight for a second so I can switch out my shift car.
I think they were doing that for the first 2 episodes to basically showcase the process.
I think so too, but like when a new shift car showed up, they would do it to like let you get a nice good look at the shift car and be all like, ooh.
Natural considering it, the toy marketing aspect of it.
I understand. But the other thing is my camera has been on. There we go. Fixed. But the other thing is when all that started getting fixed per se, like the shift car changing started happening in natural pauses, like when he's kicked a monster away and he's very quickly doing everything to change, and it's just more fluid and the action doesn't stop. And with that going, I really dig it. That combined with how good the story is becoming, I was right about Chase.
Although we'll get to him in advance.
Oh my god.
Another interesting aspect of the series.
Yeah. The characters are fun. I think of everybody on the police side, the chief of the special crimes unit is my favorite.
Oh god.
And I might be the only person in the world to say he's my favorite character.
I'm with you on that. I will say that I am very much so with you on that. Because there are times you kind of want to look at him and be like, how did you become the boss again? Can you explain this?
I think of the members of the special unit, my favorite thus far is Lieutenant Ota, just because we've been actually seeing his development for someone who was extremely skeptical that everything was happening was actually happening, to somebody who was really, started getting involved and considers himself a member of that group, and who was really trying to convince people that it's real because he's seen this stuff for himself. And he's experiencing it firsthand.
Right. Yeah, and so far, with all the characters that we have been introduced to, and I mean all of them, the police chief, the doctor, Shinosuke,
Kiriko.
Kiriko, is that her name?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, Kiriko, and whatever, Gintaro?
Jinpachi.
Yeah, him, and then
And also you, the computer guy.
Yeah, the computer guy. I can't remember his name though. In these 16 episodes that we have seen, we have already seen a lot of character development for them. Well,
really.
and even for what little bit of Kamen Rider Mock that we've seen, there's already been a significant amount of development on his character, and it's like.
And it helps that a lot of his character development is thanks to him being related to Kiriko.
Yes.
Like, he's not this guy who comes out of nowhere and who nobody knows about.
Yeah, at first he kind of comes out of nowhere like, who are you? And then at the end of that episode you find out, you're her brother. Okay. Damn. Frogs, go ahead.
Hello?
Yeah,
Hello.
we can.
Hello? Okay, so I can finally talk. My opinion on Drive is very heavy on the negative side so far. I find this show very boring, and once it started, I legit everybody was like, or maybe you're still on the Gaim hype. Maybe you're still thinking of Gaim. No. As soon as this show started, I was all like, Gaim does not exist anymore. I am all about Drive now. And then when the first episode came out, I was all like, oh, this is pretty cool. I'm digging this. I'm feeling it. And I'm Shulk. I'm really feeling it. But but then episode 2 came out, and episode 3, and 4, and 5 through 16, and I was all like, yo, I'm not feeling this anymore. This show right now is really boring, and everybody that knows me, that knows me knows I hate Forze as much as I hate Deno. Actually, I like Forze a little more than I like Deno. But yesterday, somebody asked me, and they were all like, "So, how's Drive? What do you think about Drive?" And I'm all like, "This show is boring, and I do not like it." And they're all like, "Is it better than Forze?" And I stopped in my tracks, and I had to think about it. And that's when I was like, "No, it is not better than Forze. Forze was actually better than this show." And that's when I was just like, I just had to rethink my whole life at that point, because I was all like, what the hell did I just say? I said something is better than Forze. I said Forze is better than something else.
How much we're friends, and yet you actually haven't have that strong dislike for two of my favorite Kamen Rider series.
Wait, what?
I mean, I'm just thinking how interesting it is how much of friends you and I are, and yet at the same time, there's also this thing about how you dislike these two series that are two of my favorites.
Well, I don't know. I just try not to talk about them.
Have you ever heard that opposites attract?
Exactly.
He hates them. You like them.
I love them. I love them, not just like love.
Yeah, he loves them. He like bought the whole like module set or whatnot. I don't know. And then so characters, they're all really bland and boring and annoying, and especially everybody that works in that stupid police office. Shinosuke, I don't know. I kind of lost respect for him the episode that Mock appeared, because he's just I don't know. This show. I know it's a kid show, but I'm all like, I've seen a lot of kid shows, and this by far is one of like the more silliest ones, and it's not even like silly like I could like hang like I like this type of silly. It's more like this is really boring silly. Like ToQger is silly, and I find that more entertaining than this, like than Drive. And ToQger is not. Yeah, and I don't even like ToQger that much. I like it, but not that much. So oh god, and then Mock.
You really are having to rethink your life choices, aren't you?
Yes, Mock is there. Mock is just there. He's hasn't impressed me or anything yet. And then the shift cars, like I got really excited when we got to see Midnight Shadow, but guess what? Midnight Shadow's only appeared twice, so that's a big fuck you in the face.
Well, not twice, like at least 3 times.
3, I don't. Well, I guess 3, maybe. I'm not too sure, but it hasn't appeared enough. It hasn't appeared enough to where I actually can justify buying a Midnight Shadow shift car. Because when Drive came out, they said, "Oh yeah, these are gonna be his 3 main or his 4 main forms or his 4 main tire Kokon. There's like Type Speed with Max Flare, Funky Spike, Midnight Shadow, and what was the third one, wasn't it? Or was that it?
No, those 3 were supposed to be his main ones.
Yeah, but guess what? How many times did he use each one? I've only seen Funky Spike once. I can only remember Midnight Shadow being used twice. It might have been used 3 times, but I don't know. And Max Flare, that's been used like what, twice now by Drive and Mock. So
and
I'm just like,
it's also been used like you're forgetting the
and by Chaser.
No, and Trideron.
And Trideron. Okay. Trideron.
Like
think
all of
Tridron.
the first three have been used multiple times. Like the Tridron has used Funky Spike a lot.
Yeah.
Look, the way I see those three is that those three were meant to introduce the concept of Tarakokan, and then we could get into the more specialized ones.
Right.
I guess, yeah, but then
Aren't based on real cars. One is a fire-based one. One's bike-based. One is ninja-based. They aren't actually based on real cars. They were basically meant to kind of ease us into the concept before they could get to the more specialized ones.
But that only took 2 episodes. We only got 2 episodes of easing. My butthole was not eased enough before they shoved the massive dick of shift cars up there. Like there was not enough lube. I'm sorry for the language, but that's how I have to word it because they just started
Ladies and
shoving.
gentlemen of Sentai Riders United, we just so you know that the opinions expressed by one individual does not represent the entire group of Sentai Riders United.
This is very true.
He said.
This is very true. I'm sorry for the language, but this is what is true because after like what episode 2, it was just shift car after shift car after shift car, and I was like, I can't take this. Why can't I just not have like?
You know, they have actually slowed it down.
Yes, they have. I do admit, but at the first beginning, there was just so many shift cars, and I couldn't keep up, and I was like, what are you doing? This is not. Gaim didn't even do it like this. Gaim kind of like it was lock seed after lock seed, but they took like what? It took us like 3 or 4 episodes until we got Strawberry. And like out of the other sidearms, I was like, "What the hell? This is ridiculous."
Here's how you have to look at it. This is basically like Forza, where these aren't actual forms. This is the gimmick. This is the switching gimmick.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is a good point.
Car introductions are used to space out until introduction of each new type. And that's the aspects of the series I like because it's what I liked about Forza. It's what I liked about that rider aspect, where you had the gimmick side and then the form side, and because there aren't so many forms, and because they're more spread out, to me it makes them more special.
Oh god, I don't even remember Forza introducing so many like modules all at once. That was or switches or whatever.
See, I haven't seen Forza, but
Really?
yeah.
I can't. Well, whatever. Go watch it. I can recommend.
Did I just hear him say that?
Yes. Go watch Forza and don't watch Drive. I will. I'm sticking to that now.
Oh my god. Alrighty. I haven't watched Forza, but what I have seen of it, there's only there's the Switch gimmick where they just get like an attachment, and there's not many other forms attached to it, which is kind of the same thing here. We've only seen, let's see, there's Type Speed, Type Wild, Type Technic, Type Dead Heat. That's what we have so far.
In Type Vegas.
No, there is not Type Vegas.
Wasn't there the Las Vegas one?
That was just one of the
shift
shift cars.
car.
Skip's Green Vegas.
And he just used that in episode 16.
I love that one.
I have only seen that one being used once.
Actually, no, it's been used more than once.
Oh yes.
To my own memory.
3 times now.
I guess I've
Used at least 4 times now.
I guess you just don't pay attention.
maybe it's just forgettable.
Your amount.
Maybe I just don't like the show that much. I just don't bother to remember anymore.
I think we need to let somebody else talk, like our special guest star, Mr. Tony. What do you have to say?
Ah, God, I'm sorry.
No biggie, I was just sitting here listening the whole time.
It's okay. We'll only maim you a little bit.
No biggie. Anyway, what are my thoughts on, like, Drive? Well, watching the first episode, I thought, like, well, this kind of seems neat. You know, I like some of the concepts. I like how the whole detective story thing. It's kind of neat. Characters kind of neat. Or I can mostly remember like Kiriko and Shinosuke because I kind of like how they like they're opposites in personality. He's like, oh, just lazy, laid back and all, and he's like, by the book, I'm very serious, you know. And they work together very well, I think, you know, especially with their opposites in personality. And I like the whole idea of the density shift, and they're doing all that and all. So,
well, if I might cut in for a little bit, I think, speaking of Shinosuke and Kirito, I think they're also one of the really good things about the series, because what you see as the episodes go by is that they rub up on each other and they help balance each other out.
right.
Yeah. I remember what I was going to say. For anyone who has watched these other podcasts where we talked about the introduction of Drive, you will note that I have wholeheartedly despised that tire.
Do you love it now?
I want to kick myself in the ass, but yes, I've grown accustomed to that tire.
Yeah, I have too.
And I guess we can actually use this as a transition for combination of the tire kokens and the actual form changes. And especially with the form changes, I like the way that the tire changes position. Dead heat. Which one is it? Dead heat. Yeah. Never mind. I brain fart. No, it is dead heat. Dead heat and type speed have the tire in the same place.
Mm-hmm.
But when you look at type wild, it is a shoulder thing. It's like a shoulder guard, which plays well into Rumble Dump. God, what a name for a four-shift car. I feel so sorry for that one.
I know, right?
Truck.
Like, oh, God. But then you have type Technic, and it's like a collar.
Well, not a collar, but it goes across the upper chest.
Well, see, the thing is, though, it looks like it's more of a collar because it's more up here, and it goes all the way around. So, I mean, yes, it goes in the upper chest, but it's up high enough in my book that I would classify it as a collar.
Okay.
Because it kind of reminds me of like those big neck collars that you get, like if you really bad hurt your neck or something and you have to keep it still.
Although in this case, he can actually move his neck.
Well, he can, but because of the height of it, that's what it looks like to me, at least. It looks like it's been lowered, but it kind of looks like that big collar. But oh my. I like the tire. I did not think I would ever say that in this
Podcast?
Any context.
In any yes. I am recanting all hate for the tire right here and now.
One thing for sure, I will say that I do kind of like Mr. Belt too, because for some of the reasons I already stated, I kind of like he's actually ascension, being that and just being there because Kamen Rider, and he's actually got a distinct personality, you know.
He's also kind of like Drive's engine, if we compare Drive to a car.
Yeah.
I like the way Type Speed looks, but I don't like the other types. Well, I like Drive, Dead Heat, but that's about it, because it still looks like Type Speed. But what is it? Wild? Raid Wild? Or something like that?
No, just
Type
Wild.
Oh, Type Wild and Technique, I don't like them.
Well, to me, I really do like them because what I feel is this goes more into the idea of comparing the Drive to a humanoid car, because with the tire Kokon gimmick, that's basically changing out tires for different conditions. And with the type technique, he's basically turning into a different type of car, a different type of vehicle.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, the designs are so varied. Like, they almost look like different riders.
And see, if you think about it, each form change, the Trideron takes on a different form.
Yeah, he has his own type thing, so that helps to increase like connection to how much they're kind of symbiotic.
Right.
Oh, I just noticed something with the types.
Uh-oh.
Oh, dear.
What?
So has anyone noticed how a lot of the time... okay. So, you get type wild.
Yeah.
Power. The muscle.
Mhm.
What is Chase to the bad guys? He's their muscle.
Mhm.
And you get Technic. Their drive's brain. And then Dead Heat, who can do what?
Who can hit the dead zone like Heart.
His types feel like mimics of the villains, now that I think about it.
Well,
in a way, perhaps they're designed to counter them.
but at the same time,
Well, I
if you
mean,
think about it, the thing is the Roid Mudes were created by the same people who created the by the same professor.
No, it was the Roy Muse were made by someone else, but they couldn't figure out how to power them. So the professor who created the Roy Muse was like, "Can I use this power source you created, which is the same thing that powers the drive belt and the shift cars?" But the thing is, I just noticed that, and it's kind of one of those, oh crap, this blows my mind, because more times than anything else, since Wild debuted, whenever Drive fights Chaser, he goes into type Wild.
Well, not always.
No, not always, but it's the form he uses quite often against Chaser is Wild.
And that does make sense. I see what you're saying. Maybe.
What made me realize this was when I was thinking over type Technic, because to me, and I'm not saying this to like say it's a bad form, it just does look a bit fugly. But when it was doing the machine analyzing and how it just minimal movement while he was still analyzing, he got the gun and pointed it back and started shooting. I was like, he's acting like Brain.
Well,
As
also,
far as I go, with Type Technic is my favorite. I love the way it has this kind of heavy machine-like look. I love the construct on the side. I like all the hydraulics it's got. It's really my favorite.
Well, also, going off of what you just said, Volt, now that you mention it, look at the color schemes of Chaser, Brain, and Heart.
Yep.
Alright? Heart is red. The one that can tap into that is Dead Heat, which is predominantly white and red.
Yeah,
Brain is green.
Technic is green, and Chaser has black on him, but his most dominant color is purple.
It's purple, but
that Speed is actually the main red type.
This is true, but it's just Speed feels more. It's the base form,
right?
But Dead Heat feels like the one to counter Heart because they can both go Dead Zone.
Yep.
Man, every time I say Dead Zone, I think of Dragon Ball.
When I think of Dead Zone, I think of the TV of the Stephen King book / movie / TV show. But that's just me. But
well, I think that also brings us into one of the more interesting aspects of Mach Chaser, who is the best person to compare. The best way to compare it to is to Shadow Moon from Master Rider Black and Master Rider Black RX.
I love this guy.
Basically, he's not a rider, but he transforms like when it serves to be Drive's rival, to the point where he uses his own evil version of ship cards called Spiral Cores.
Oh my god.
And I mean, that kind of goes back to one little thing where Drive is the first rider to have a car since Master Rider Black RX, and he also has a belt and brakes, which is also like Black RX. So it makes sense if you're comparing Drive to Black RX, then you gotta have your Shadow move as well. So that's where Master Chaser comes in.
Yeah, but and this is a spoiler alert, but we do find something out about Machine Chaser, and I'm not going to say it just because, but it's a slight spoiler. But it's going to be interesting to see how they're going to play it out through the rest of the series with this revelation of who he is. Because they could play it one of two ways. They could play it to where his programming stays as it is and he stays the Reaper. Or he could go back to being the way he was. My guess is he's probably going to go back to the way he was and somehow get like a mega upgrade or something, or because, I don't know. Speculation could be that we find out that he's part of the ultimate final transformation for Drive. I don't know.
Well, okay, here's another interesting thing, is his name, Machine Chaser. That is actually stylized similar to Kamen Rider, where Kamen is in the words written out in kanji, and Rider is in katakana. So in Japanese, that's Kamen Rider. For Machine Chaser, it's a similar case, Machine Chaser. Machine is in kanji, and Chaser is in katakana. So basically, when you look at it like that, they kind of consider, the Kamen Rider. Well, in the series, the Kamen Rider is kind of like this sort of urban legend kind of hero, and in the context of the series, the Machine Chaser is kind of like the evil counterpart to the Kamen Rider.
Yeah, but based on what we know so far, it is entirely... I think at this point, it is, as I've said before, it's a little too early to see where they're going to go with it. Because they could go 50 blue million different ways with it and still keep it interesting. But those were just two ideas that popped into my head right off the bat. And I mean, it would be interesting to find out that he does become part of the final transformation for Drive. But I think at this point we just need to. I want to see how this is going to play out, because I like his character. His character is awesome. Especially when he runs into Kiriko. Oh, that's when it gets fun.
Although that doesn't really, go along with how he's saying that the Machine Chaser is like the evil Kamen Rider, but okay.
With how this stuff is going, I am really hoping that Chaser becomes Proto Drive again, if at least only once.
Yeah, and maybe something about him becoming Proto Drive again allows him to interface with the computer or something to become.
Well, maybe we can explain the whole Pro Drive thing first.
The what?
The whole thing with Proto Drive, for those who are not familiar with it.
Okay, let's go ahead and talk about the recent big reveals with Chase.
Yeah, so basically the series starts off with something called the Global, which is an event where the series enemy is called Rave. use their power to kind of slow down time all over the world. And while that's happening, this mysterious hero, who comes to become known as Kamen Rider Drive, kind of puts a stop to them, at least to their core activities in Japan. And so, we get little bits of, kind of little information about Drive as the series goes on. And basically that all leads up to the reveal that Machin Chaser was actually Drive, and what the Roymies did was they took Drive's powers and reverse engineered it into their own creation, Machin Chaser.
The dirty bastards.
I was right. I called this. I predicted this the second we saw Proto Drive's color scheme.
He did. He did.
I fucking called this.
We're so proud of you.
Oh man, and I'm sorry. This is just something that when I was watching the episodes to catch up and be ready for this, when Chase started questioning himself, who am I? What am I? I was like, oh my god, it's my theory, right? And then they reveal he's the proto-Roymude, and it's like, oh. Then they reveal he's also Proto-Drive, and I was like, yeah!
Them revealing that he was a proto...
Where the main rider is not the first. Where
yeah, that's actually...
the finished product of what was originally a prototype. Not an unfinished prototype. Because the thing about Proto-Drive is that what his appearance is basically a black version of Type C. However, he is missing some parts. For example, he has no spoiler on his head, and he isn't able to tire coke on because he doesn't have any tire parts. Instead, there's this kind of circuitry board going across his chest in place of it.
But there's also one other thing that he cannot do, and whereas Drive can destroy the viral cores, Proto Drive cannot.
Yeah.
Big difference between the two. So when they revealed that he was a Roymude, it kind of in my head I realized I should have known it from the get-go, but then again at the same time it crossed my mind he's a human who's been taken over or possessed or mind controlled or something to the effect of he's able to do that, and he's assisting the Roymudes unaware of what's happening. And to find out that he was a Roymude, it did. Yes, it kind of shot a hole in my theory, but it makes a lot more sense.
The thing that it makes me wonder is whether we see that he's a Roymude, but he has this form 2, and he was the first Roymude. So what makes you wonder is that he must have had that human form when he was. Actually, it makes you wonder whether he had that human form and was like a human who was turned into the first Roymude, or whether later on he copied another person's appearance, and that person doesn't really matter for the story.
It'll be interesting to see how they do that, because now that you mention it, that would be kind of an interesting way to go too. Oh Lord, we're finding out all sorts of possibilities that could happen. It'd be interesting.
I think that it's unlikely that he had that human form before, just because if so, then Isabel probably would have recognized it.
Right, but then, and I know we're kind of extending this a little more than what we should, but it's bringing up a valid point. Assuming that he was human and turned into a Roymude, how exactly would they go about doing that? All we've ever seen, and I guess they would explain later on, but so far the Roid Mutes have been strictly robot that take on the holographic appearance of a human and eventually copy their memories, but you know.
Simple. The same way we take poor innocent humans and turn them into androids.
Well, here's why I
That's a
mentioned
Dragon Ball joke,
because
folks.
Roid Mutes come in three basic types: Bat, Spider, and Cobra. However, Proto Zero, which is his real form, is none of those. He is what's described as a human type Roid Mute.
Mm-hmm.
So that
Even
does
looks human.
Yeah, that does make it a little bit strange.
We'll just have to see how it goes. I think it's going to be an interesting concept to see how they handle his story, because I pretty much have an idea that they're going to reverse it at some point. So they'll go into more detail into who he is.
Yeah.
So I think it's good to speculate, because I love speculation. Because it kind of gives you an idea of what to possibly look forward to, but at the same time, maybe and I'm kind of saying this for my own self, maybe we should kind of hold off and see just what happens.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, the other just last thing is how when he's regaining his memories of being Proto Drive, but not of the human form. Because if he were a regular Roid Mute, he would have memories of his human form.
Well, yes, but then again, if he was turned into a Roid Mute, look at it that way. Look at it this way: he now has cybernetic parts that can now be controlled by brain, and that's what caused that they went away when he was reprogrammed.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, it's possible, but at the same time, we just need to wait and see what happens. I'm really, honestly looking forward to this.
Yeah.
I really hope he becomes a rider again.
I do too. And
I want him to become a rider again so he can fight against the fact that, yes, he used to be Chaser, and people still remember that he used to be Chaser and probably don't trust him.
in a sense, though, that would kind of be cool, because then he could regain his trust.
Yeah.
How much you want to bet that at some point, given the relationship between Shinosuke and Kiriko, that Kiriko is going to become a rider at some point?
I don't know.
I'm not sure. The thing is that in one of the more recent episodes, he was given anti-Roid Mute bolts and special, drive similar shoes. So they gave her powers to fight against the Roid Mute without transforming. It does, I don't know if that makes it more or less likely that she's going to become a rider.
Yeah.
Then again, I think in the first episode you said, if I was chosen, I would have done it. Alright, but that's your job.
Yeah.
I mean, it's possible. I mean, right now, we're only 16, about to be 17 episodes in once, Overtime gets episode 17 done. So, it would be pretty cool to see it. It's going to be interesting to see what happens, because whereas Gaim was a really slow start. If you think about it, it really was a slow start. This has hit the ground running from the get-go. It's not been a slow start. Yes, they kind of slowed it down a little bit, but not enough to drag it to a complete halt. I mean, it's just constantly boom, boom, boom. I mean, episode 17, we find out Chase was the first proto drive.
Well, no, not 17. It was 14.
I mean, 14. Sorry. I'm thinking of the current episode. My apologies. But we find out in a before the 20th episode that one of the main villains was a good guy.
Yeah.
So I'm really loving this series because, and I'm going to get smacked for it later. Go ahead, get the stick. This is similar to what we should have kind of had with Double.
You know what? I won't disagree with you because what I noticed looking back at Double and what feels like Golden Notes is that in terms of that, there wasn't much actual detective work. In reality, Philip was more like a kind of cheat sheet, like just the easy way out.
He was Space Google, as we've called him.
Somewhere, some people I know are getting really mad and they don't know why.
Well, this is the internet. People get pissed off for everything.
But the thing is, with Shinosuke, we go through these stories, and then within every case, he has this scene where you'll see these images, where he is putting together clues in his head, and where he figures it all out. He actually compiles the clues together and comes up with his own conclusion. Yeah.
Right, and see, that's the thing that I am liking so far. It's detective work. It's real, true, sincere detective work. Thank you, God. I know that the same writer is writing episodes for this that wrote Double, and I think he kind of realized in the back of his head, I think I goofed. Let's fix it! Because if you kind of think about it, he kind of kept the same way of doing it, where the main writer didn't have a bike, per se. Well, no, he did have a bike, but it was an interchangeable piece. And then the secondary writer was a bike.
And speaking of bikes, I think that should bring us to the next one point. The secondary writer, Kamen Rider Mach. Because he has been introduced, and he is worth discussing, because unlike Drive, who is totally car-themed, he is totally bike-themed.
Yes, and we need to hurry this up, because it's we are at the 2-hour mark.
All right.
Yep.
Indeed.
Okay.
Which is no help.
I will start with this, and that is, this guy is meta. His jokes are meta, and it pisses me off. Not in a bad way, just like, I see what you did there.
The thing about Shujima, Kamen Rider Mach, his character's little brother, is that his introduction kind of rubbed a lot of people the wrong way.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
But he gets better in that, within like the next episode or two. Actually, I think like the very next episode, he kind of calms down and he's kind of brought to his senses. And from there, he is a big help. In that he is a lot better on gathering intel than anybody in the special unit is. And
yeah.
His personal vendetta against the Roids that hasn't been explained yet.
He does seem to have that. That's something, because even though Chase is, it seems like he's trying to change and he's asking sincere questions. It seems like he has a personal grudge. So it makes you wonder, since he was the writer from America, it makes you wonder what the heck happened?
I don't know.
Because even Shinosuke was willing to give before he got reprogrammed. Shinosuke was willing to give Chase a chance to kind of, process through everything and figure it out. And Go was like, not happening. Gotta kill him. So like I said, it kind of makes you wonder what happened while he was in America that makes him hate the Roidmude that much to the point of not giving them a chance to process.
Yeah, and as far as he goes as a rider, he is quite varied from Drive in that he doesn't use gift cars, he uses miniature bikes called signal bikes. And instead of changing out a tire that someone on his bike, it changes out a signal on his shoulder. And instead of those signals actually doing things on their own, they instead affect the abilities of his weapon that he's in the shooter, in that they're based on different traffic signals. So, based on what signal he's using, that can influence his shots, like turning into a scatter shot, or turning it into a paralyzing shield.
Or the bullet, the danger bullet.
Yeah.
I love that bullet. The one where he shoots it, and the first time it pops out, it's little, and it just starts walking to the enemy, and you're like, that? Are you kidding me? And then it gets big, and just goes like, nom 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 nom. Oh, that was funny. Oh, that was fun.
And the other interesting thing about him is that he's using what's called the Next system, a kind of rider system that's more advanced than the Drive system, so he's also able to use Drive's gift cards and use those abilities as well.
But the thing that confuses me, and I'm really hoping that this at some point gets explained, unlike the shift cars that seem more sentient than what you would think, it seems to me like the signal bikes, they're deadly specific to their signal. So because there was one episode where he released them and tried to get them to help him find somebody or to follow someone, and it's like the left turn arrow just kept on making left turns. It's like NASCAR. He's making a left turn. He's making a left turn. He's making another left turn. What's he gonna do next?
Yeah, I can tell they were designed not so much with the intention of being independent, but more using specifically. They were designed to be more specialized for use with the signal Kokon feature.
Right.
I'm sorry for the interruption, but I unfortunately have to go like Eric did because of work and such.
All right.
Yeah, thanks for watching, people, and I have to go later. Good night.
All right.
And, thanks, Tony, for coming out.
Cheers.
But I think it'd be interesting to find out through the series that Mr. Belt has a way to add the same level of sentience to the bikes that is in the shift cars. I know that the bikes are made differently, but at the same time, it'd be interesting to find out if that would not be a possibility. So that they're not dependent upon their signal, and the poor left turn guy's just not going doop 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 doop, and
Well, the thing is that the shift cars aren't based on different motions; they're based on different kinds of vehicles. So they have those abilities, but the signal bikes, while they are in form based on different kinds of bikes, in ability they are based on these various signals. So that does dictate their programming.
I see what you're saying. I do. I don't know. Maybe something will come along that'll change them to where they're similar to the shift bikes, or maybe
Shift cars.
yeah, shift cars. My bad. Blah, 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 blah. I don't know. We'll just have to see. We'll just have to see what happens. Maybe because if I remember seeing the picture correctly, can't the shift bikes, the signal bikes, can't the bikes go in the dead heat car?
Not quite. Actually, shift dead heat is just like the form is a fusion between Drive and Mach. The car is a combination between a shift car and a signal bike, where it's a bike and sidecar, meaning one half is a shift car, the other half is a signal bike. And it's not like any bike can go in there, it's this specific one that's actually attached on a hinge.
Because it would seem to me that if they had that kind of shift car, where the signal bikes could be put into it, if they were to write it this way, they could write it to where being connected to the driver. God, try saying that 3 times fast. Being connected to the driver adds that level of sentience to it. Because
they can do simple tasks as shown by how they're able to make movements to operate a camera, but they are not designed for scouting purposes.
Right, because we know that the shift cars are very well adept at scouting.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I think at this point we've been introduced to these characters, and while I think at this point it's just a lot of speculation, but I'm loving this series.
I am too. I mean, the other thing about Mach is that it's thanks to him that we got the revelation about Motion Chaser.
Right.
And that's because what turns out was that his bike, when coming in proximity with Motion Chaser's bike, combined together to form a four-wheeled vehicle called the Ride Crosser. And it turns out that Motion Chaser's bike was actually just a kind of repainted and redesigned bike of Drive. So in that way, it turns out that they were actually kind of programmed to go together. And so thanks to that, it actually led to that revelation.
I wonder if that means that... No, because the guy writing the series said that Drive will never set foot on a bike.
Yeah.
But technically speaking, if the two combine, then that's no longer a bike.
Well, no, I was thinking that possibly what might happen is Drive will inherit Chase's bike. And then I remembered, no, wait, the guys in charge of this show basically put their foot down. It's like he will never set foot on a bike.
Mm-hmm. Well, the thing is that he won't do it just because he still needs Trideron.
Well, he's connected to Trideron.
Yeah.
So in that sense, he wouldn't have need of any other vehicle.
Right.
I think we might need to wrap it up. It's almost 11:30. My time.
It's my time. I share your time too, DJ.
Oh, okay. So I'm not alone in this. Woohoo! So I guess in short, I'm going to pull a Volt here. If you haven't watched Drive yet, why are you here? Go watch it.
Why are you here?
Go
Why
watch
are you
it.
stealing my jokes? Why are you stealing my lines?
You know what? The thing is
Because they're fun lines.
I see that a lot of people don't like the series, but I just think that for the people who don't like the series, they're just not seeing the good things about it, and they're just comparing it too much to other series.
They're probably comparing it to...
The best way to enjoy this is to look at it on its own. If you look at it on its own, it lets you more easily see the good things about it.
Yeah.
But then again, it is coming right after Gaim, so it's kind of like a tough act to follow.
Well, yes, but I mean, it's not meant to be compared to Gaim. It never was. Like, no series aren't meant to be compared to another. They are meant to stand on their own.
That's like when and I will keep this very short, but that's like when they reference Drive in the show. They don't call him Kamen Rider Drive. They just call him the Kamen Rider.
Right.
And that's across the board.
Yeah.
So,
it's also kind of like a PR and Super Sentai. You know, PR is supposed to be PR, and same with Sentai.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
There's supposed to be different iterations of stuff. But really, honestly, I would say you need to go watch it. I know that
Good series. It's a good detective series. It's a good writer series, and it mixes both elements together really well.
Yes.
Because it's shown that, with the writer abilities, the writer powers help with solving the detective cases. So in that case, it is a good mix between the two, and it lets the two meld together instead of having them separate. Because I think aside from the memory gadgets in Double, there weren't really many aspects of Double's powers that let him help solve the cases.
Not really, no. Because pretty much in that they were relying a lot on Philip's Space Google.
Yeah.
So, well, do we have any final thoughts? Any other final thoughts?
It's good. Watch it.
Yeah, really.
Has anyone ever noticed how Mr. Bell occasionally speaks English?
Yep.
Well, yes, because there is a couple of reasons for that. One is because he's clearly studied in America, and he's clearly a foreigner of some kind, because his character name is Krim Steindl, meaning he's possibly of partly German origin. And
I think I've heard he's German-Japanese.
Like that, he's studied in America because Harley Hendrickson, who made Mox technology, was his teacher. And the other thing is that his actor is part German, part Japanese, and he also has a very good. He also speaks English very well.
So, there you go.
I will say one more thing too, is that when he, what's his name, Shinosuke, when he uses his drive sword, it kind of reminds me in a way of the swords that Red and Red Racer use, because the sword and with the big ass handle. Yeah.
I mean, that two of his weapons are taken from car parts. His sword is Trideron's handle or steering wheel, and his gun is Trideron's door.
KRX, can you hold the door gun up, please?
Alright, here's the handle cannon and the door cue.
Alright, I'm going to put you to present to everyone. Alright, look at the door gun. This thing is freaking full size in the show. I think it has been forever since they have made a toy to scale.
Not entirely. Not entirely. It's close, but not 1-1.
It's about a 1-3.
It's close enough in my book, okay? Because based on what I have seen of the door gun in the show versus what he is holding, good God, that thing is freaking huge. It's if it's not 1-1, it's so damn close. It's not even funny. The steering sword is pretty dang close too. Well, with the exception of the blade, of course, because the length can't be exact. But the size in terms of like the steering wheel and the handle and everything, that's almost spot on too. So I'm very happy to see that they got the weapons extremely close to scale. That makes me very happy. So, okay, you're good. I will no longer put you on blast. So, does anybody have anything else to say before we wrap this up?
Hope it's not full of dead heat, huh?
You know, all I can say is that I am loving this series. It's been a blast to watch so far, and I'm sure I'm gonna love this until the end. I just, it's just saying, whatever comes next, I am excited for it. I look forward to it, and I'm sure I'm going to enjoy it because this is just turning out to be one of my favorite series.
Anything for you, Tony?
Well, I kind of hope that I enjoy it more, and it is a kind of a. I am using it to help me get more into Kamen Rider, so yeah, I hope that works out.
All these.
Vol?
Mhm.
It's good. It's real good.
I think he's saying just that because I took his joke from him.
It's good. Beautiful.
I'm all for it. So far, I am not disappointed. So you need to go watch it if you ask me.
Mhm.
All right, we're not going to do our
No shameless plugs tonight.
We're not doing our shameless plugs. Everything for our shameless plugs is below in the description.
That's right.
Yep, go there and click everything. Like us all. I'm thinking of new videos to put up for what I'm gonna do. So yeah.
I will quickly shout out my friends, the Toku Warriors, another podcast group whom I've done podcasts with many times. They've kind of slowed down in recent times, but I would say go check them out and just keep an eye out for them. So on Facebook, Google Plus, Twitter, and YouTube. There's my shameless plug. Yeah.
All right. Well, with all that said, we are so thankful that you chose to spend your 2 hours watching us. We are very humbled and grateful. We love our viewers.
2.5 hours.
2.5 hours. We are very humbled. We love you for this. And we thank you again for watching us rant, rave, and overall discuss this wonderful piece of Toku. I hope you have a good night.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Domo arigato, Mr. Roboto.